In this short recording, we're going to focus on some of the key feedback from assignment 1 from AC323, which hopefully you can then take on board and reflect on your assignments 2 and 3, which are due in a couple of weeks' time. So overall, it was a good batch of assignments. Average grade was 63. Most people gave a well-structured and presented answer with a clear focus on the assignment brief, who the target audience were, what the target publication was, Accountancy Ireland, and what the key titles were as well. A lot of students made good use of headings. They used tables or imagery as supporting evidence, and they clearly put a bit of thought and critical thinking into their assignment. That's what we're looking for in final year. For some of those students who may not have done as well, we need more than just a knowledge dump. We don't just want you to go out and Google environmental accounting or look in your notes and take those examples and put them in. There needs to be evidence that you've gone off yourself and actually applied your knowledge. And in a handful of cases, there was some very poor academic practices, like blatant copy and paste from various outlets. Now, even though if you do reference them, you shouldn't be copy and paste paragraphs of information. And remember, we have software for this. We can spot that very quickly. No or poor bibliographies. The bibliography can't be just a hyperlink. You have to make sure you put in the DCO approved format. Do the Harvard referencing in terms of the bibliography at least. Even if you are using footnotes, there should be a formatted bibliography. And just poorly presented assignments for some cases where there was no effort at aesthetics, no effort at formatting, and it really was just a dump of text with no real flow to the overall piece. So what I'm going to do in the next couple of slides is I'll look at the positives, I'll look at the negatives, and I'll look at some of the key takeaways as well. So I said the positives were most students embraced the requirements. And that's what the key thing about final year is about shaping your piece, shaping your assignment to suit Accountancy Ireland, or for assignment 2 and 3 to suit a report to the particular audience. Engage that target audience. Have an introduction that gives open-ended questions. Have a styled body with certain headings or a flow to it, and have key takeaways at the end. And make sure it's easy to read. That's what the positives, a good student, they mixed it up. They had imagery, they had good subheadings guiding the reader through it, and they had clear tables or imagery that helped along with that. And the big thing they were looking for was the critical thinking, right? The assignments that chose, they really thought about them. So they thought about accounting and society. They thought about how environmental accounting might work. For all those assignment titles that you were given, there was a real sense that student went off and they actually thought about what they were writing down. And there was evidence, should I say, of self-directed research. Because remember, you're expected a final year now. It's much more than the notes. It's much more than a basic debit and credit. So in that regard, you do need to make sure you put a bit of effort in. And that will mean reading around the topic, thinking about what exactly am I going to do, and that can take a bit of brainstorming. And for most of the good students, the basics were done well. The footnotes were clearly done, there was clear referencing, there was a good bibliography, and it was in alphabetical order. Bibliography should always be in alphabetical order. The formatting was done well, there was this consistent spelling, consistent grammar, and it was presented well. Right? At the other end of the spectrum, what were the trouble things that are causing people to drop marks and that you should watch out for in terms of assignment 2 or 3? Some people just went off on a complete tangent in terms of there was no focus on the title. They picked their own title, they changed the title. Titles are given for a reason. You can't just choose to change the title yourself, nor can you try and just shoehorn in an example. Some assignments just give one full example, that was it. There was no real discussion of accounting at all, or maybe it was just mentioned at the start or the end. You have to make sure you meet the assignment brief. Right? You can't go off on a tangent yourself without making sure, is this relevant? Some students didn't include any references, or if they did, they just put in a couple of hyperlinks. I mean, that's not sufficient. Your final year in an academic setting, you have to give approved formatting and an approved bibliography format. Again, even in final year, students are using questionable references. You shouldn't be referencing ukessays.com. You shouldn't be referencing georgesblog.com. I mean, they're not valid references. There's plenty of very valid references. The Big Four, the accounting bodies, right? The academic studies. There's a huge amount of resources out there. You have to go and look for it. That's what part of academic assignments are about. And again, the problem with students blatantly copying and pasting. Some of them copied and pasted and just put a footnote in. That's still not really acceptable. I mean, you can't be copying and pasting paragraphs of information, putting them in word for word right throughout the assignment. right? We have software for that. It's going to be picked up very easily, and it's not accepted at final year, and you're going to score very poorly. So just watch for that, and remember, you have to give your own work, right? Likewise as well, if the word count is whatever it was 2,500, I expect you to be in and around 2,500. That's a 10% either way, but I don't expect you to submit 1,200 words, or I don't expect you to submit 4,000 words. You have to work within the assignment brief that's given. Otherwise, you will be penalised. Other issues to watch for: a formulaic discussion of concepts with no effort and engagement or limited value add. So take, for example, here, discussion of accounting and society, or discussion of accounting and public interest. Some students just rehash the notes or rehash the articles I gave you, copying and pasting in definitions, which is fine as a starting point, but they really didn't add anything more than what we've done in class. Or likewise, some students in accounting and the ethical gatekeepers, they merely just copied and pasted in their notes from AC 402 from last year. Give me a page on deontology, a page on utilitarianism. It's more applied. You can't just copy and paste notes without shaping it towards, would a professional accountant be interested in this? Is this suitable for my target audience? So you need to pay more attention to shaping it and keeping the interest of who your readers are. All right? Spelling and grammar, again, issues. Lots of spelling mistakes. Lots of people coming in with font with different colors. It's clear that you just copied some of the font from a different source, and one is gray and one is black. Some people are using very unusual paragraph structures. You might have 3 or 4 lines a paragraph, 3 or 4 lines a paragraph. It doesn't flow well. You need to go back and look at the outlet, look at the Accountancy Ireland, and how you keep engaging the reader. Or some didn't format it at all. There was no title, there was no subheadings, it was just 2 or 3 pages of continuous text. I mean, a bit of effort goes a long way in terms of the aesthetics and in terms of shaping your thing. Yes, you'll get marks for content, but your content can be taken away from by having poor formatting. And that's part and parcel of producing a document as you go into the real world as well and the professional world of accountancy. So what are your key takeaways then for the other 2 assignments that you're working on? First thing is read the assignment brief. Where's the assignment going? Who's going to read it? And why would they read it? What's it of interest to them? Right? We do expect you to have critical analysis. Right? Back it up with research. Show your depth of knowledge. Some students are giving 1 or 2 references of bibliography. That is not sufficient. Right? There's no hard number, but we certainly expect you to get to double digits. Looking at academic articles if relevant, looking at Big Four publications, accountancy publications, the Financial Times. There's numerous resources there. Right? Again, big issue with some students, focus on the title. What title did you choose? Don't go off and reshape the title. You might put a subtitle, but the key point is keep it relevant. If you're choosing corporate reporting for business society, if you're choosing tax morality, keep it on that basis. Don't go off on a tangent because we're giving you the titles for a particular reason. Right? Knowledge dumps are not enough at final year. They might get you past first year, but if you want to get a decent grade here, you have to go more than just copy and pasting from the notes or taking it off some textbook or website. Right? And again, the basics of academic assignments shouldn't have to be told this in final year again. No copy and pasting. You can certainly take ideas from other sources. You can reference them, but you can reshape them in your own ideas as well, according to Nolan or whatever, 2020. We're talking about this. Or you'll embed the ideas in. But the software is available to us. We can see where students just copy in a paragraph of information. And we can also see where they copy in and change a couple of keywords and think they've rehashed it. That's still copying in. You have to give an appropriate bibliography, formatted based on DCU format styles. Have a look at the DCU library. They give you guidance on how to format it and make sure it's well presented. Make sure it's aesthetically pleasing. Make sure it's structured as a report, as the assignments, the future assignments will be, and make sure it reads well. Right? All of them build up the marks. Things like that could be very easy to get 5, 6, 7 marks quite quickly for no little extra content, but just for formatting, laying it out well, and having the basics around academic assignments done well as well. Right? So hopefully you found that short recording useful, just giving you some of the key insights in terms of assignment 1 that you can then use. And remember, even if you didn't score as well as you thought, this is only worth 35%. you still have another 65% to bring up that mark to where you need to be for final year. Right? And if anyone again is looking for more conversation, you want to look at something else, please do get in contact and we can have a discussion around your assignment if you wish. So hopefully you found that useful and hope you're continuing on then with assignment 2 and assignment 3. And please do get in contact at any stage if you want to have a chat about those or about your assignment 1.